A cursed tree. A forgotten bloodline. A kingdom built on lies. When an orphan's touch awakens ancient magic, an Alpha King's darkest secret threatens to burn his empire to ash. Hello friends, this is Tales by Moonlight. Kindly hit subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. Now, let's get back into it. The world tree had been dead for 17 years. Lyra's fingers brushed the blackened bark before she could stop herself. The market square fell silent. Every eye turned toward the girl in threadbare cloth standing at the base of the massive, lifeless trunk that dominated Draven's capital. She shouldn't have touched it. No one touched the world tree. Warmth spread beneath her palm. Get away from there. A guard's voice cracked across the square. But Lyra couldn't move. Heat pulsed up her arm, into her chest, spreading like wildfire. The bark beneath her hand began to glow, soft gold, then brilliant white. The first leaf unfurled. Then another. Then thousands. The crowd gasped as green swept up the dead trunk like resurrection itself. Blossoms exploded across branches that had known only rot. Lyra stumbled backward, her hand burning with symbols that writhed across her skin like living tattoos. Omega Mark, someone whispered. Guards rushed forward, but froze as the tree's roots erupted from cobblestones. Golden sap wept from the bark, pooling in patterns that hadn't been seen since the old kingdom fell. From the palace tower, King Kael Draven watched through narrowed eyes. His knuckles whitened against the stone. Impossible, he breathed. Beside him, Elder Morvain's weathered face had gone pale. The prophecy. Kael, the girl. I know what she is. His voice cut like winter wind. In the square below, Commander Riven Ash reached Lyra first. His hand closed around her wrist, the one still glowing with impossible symbols. Their eyes met. Recognition flashed between them, primitive and undeniable. Run, he said, so quietly only she could hear. But it was already too late. The tree's golden light pulsed once more, and every dying plant in the capital burst into bloom. The cursed blight that had choked the kingdom for 17 years retreated like darkness from dawn. The crowd parted as Ceres Moonfall strode forward, her alpha presence commanding instant deference. Her cold eyes assessed Lyra like a butcher sizing up meat. Take her, Ceres commanded. By order of the throne. Riven's grip on Lyra's wrist tightened. She's under my custody. In the palace tower, Kael turned from the window. Morvain, tell me she's not who I think she is. The elder's silence was answer enough. Kael's fist slammed into stone. I buried this. I burned the records. You killed her mother. But the child survived. Below, Lyra collapsed. The magic was too much. Riven caught her before she hit the ground. As he lifted her into his arms, every instinct in his body roared the truth his mind refused to accept. Mate. Because if she was what the prophecy claimed, then everything Kael Draven had built his reign upon was a lie. And Riven would have to choose. His king, or the girl who might be the kingdom's salvation. Ceres watched Riven carry Lyra away, then turned toward the palace. She had waited 17 years for this moment. For proof that Kael's greatest crime hadn't stayed buried. In a forgotten tower cell, Lyra woke to find Elder Morvain standing over her. Hello, child, the old woman said softly. We have much to discuss. Lyra's hand still burned with symbols she couldn't read. But somewhere in the depths of her soul, she already knew. She was the thing kings feared. The door opened. King Kael Draven stood in the threshold, and his eyes held murder. Hello, daughter, he said. Lyra couldn't breathe. The word echoed in her skull, impossible and terrible. Daughter. You're lying, she whispered. Kael stepped into the cell, his alpha presence filling the space like suffocating smoke. I wish I were. He looked older up close. The weight of 17 years pressed into every line of his face. My mother died in the orphanage fire, Lyra said. Your mother was Ilara Moonweaver. The last true Omega of the royal bloodline. And I murdered her. The cell tilted. Lyra's back hit the wall. Why? Because she threatened everything I'd built. Because the prophecy said an Omega would rise and undo the Alpha reign. His voice dropped. I didn't know she was pregnant. When I learned the truth, I sent men to find the child. To kill you. But they failed, Morvain interjected. I hid you among the orphans. Changed your name. Bound your power so deeply even you didn't know what you were. You knew. All this time. I knew. I also knew the prophecy. That one day, the world tree would recognize its true queen. I'm not a queen. I'm nobody. I sleep in a gutter. I steal bread to survive. The symbols on her skin flared. Power crackled through the cell. Kale moved fast, grabbing her shoulders. Listen to me. You are Lyra Moonweaver. Last of the true Omega line. And whether you want it or not, half this kingdom will try to crown you, and the other half will try to kill you. Which half are you? Lyra met his eyes, defiant despite her terror. I haven't decided yet. He released her and turned to Morvain. How long before the nobles realize what she is? Ceres already knows. She saw the marks. Kale swore viciously. Then we're out of time. Ceres Moonfall wants my throne. You just became her war banner. So kill me. Finish what you started. The silence stretched. Kale stared at this impossible daughter with her mother's eyes and a power that could shatter kingdoms. I should. But I won't. Because she's right. I am a murderer. But I won't kill my own child. He moved to the door, then paused. Riven will guard you. Trust him. Learn to control your power, or it will control you. And when the war comes, because it's coming, decide what kind of queen you want to be. He left. Lyra's legs gave out. She slid down the wall, trembling. Footsteps approached. Riven entered. Come. The king wants you moved to the royal wing. Riven crouched before her. I know what you're feeling. Kale is complicated. But he's the only thing standing between you and Ceres Moonfall's ambition. He offered his hand. Lyra stared at it. Slowly, she reached out. Their fingers touched. The bond snapped into place like a lock finding its key. Riven inhaled sharply. Every muscle in his body went rigid as the mate bond roared to life between them. No. Not you. Not now. But Lyra felt it too. The impossible pull. This alpha was hers. And she was his. What's happening? Riven stood abruptly. Nothing. We need to go. But Morvain was smiling sadly. The Shadow Commander and the Lost Princess. Bound by destiny. Divided by loyalty. You'll have to choose, boy. In the throne room, Kale stood alone. Ceres Moonfall appeared in the doorway. We need to talk about the girl. What do you want, Ceres? Simple. Make her disappear. Quietly. And I'll ensure the nobles forget they ever saw the world tree bloom. And if I refuse, then I'll tell them the truth. That you murdered the true Omega Queen. That you have a daughter you tried to erase. That your entire reign is built on blood treason. Kale's blade was at her throat. Threaten my daughter again, and you won't leave this room alive. War it is, then. She left. Kale lowered his blade. His hand shook. For the first time in 17 years, he felt fear. Not for himself. For her. In her chambers, Lyra stood at the window watching the world tree. Behind her, Riven stood guard. The mate bond hummed. Why did he spare me? Because he's not the monster everyone thinks he is. Lyra turned. And the mate bond? His eyes flashed. Is a complication neither of us needs. What if I don't want to ignore it? She whispered. Riven's control cracked. His hand cupped her face. Then we're both doomed. Because I can't have you and serve my king. He dropped his hand. Stepped back. Get some rest. Tomorrow, Morvain begins your training. For war. It's coming, princess. Through the window, the world tree glowed. And somewhere in its ancient branches, Lyra swore she heard her mother's voice calling her toward a destiny written in blood. Elder Morvain's chamber smelled of sage and secrets. Lyra sat cross-legged, her marked hand pressed against ancient stone. The symbols glowed faintly. You feel it, Morvain said. The magic. It's everywhere. Suffocating. You're not suffocating. You're waking. For 17 years, I bound your power. But now you're a threat to everyone who built their power on the death of your kind. Tell me about my mother. Morvaine's expression softened. Ilara was magnificent. The strongest Omega in 3 generations. The world tree sang when she walked past. And Kale killed her for it. Kale killed her because she refused to be silent. The kingdom was fracturing. Your mother believed true Omegas could restore balance. Could heal the magic. What did Kale believe? That Omegas were weak. That only Alpha strength could hold the kingdom together. He challenged your mother to the blood trial. Lyra's breath caught. Those are just legends. No, child. They're law. Your mother couldn't refuse without appearing weak. She fought him. She fought. And she was winning. But Kale didn't fight fair. He poisoned the trial grounds. Used iron dust to suppress her magic. And when she fell, he showed no mercy. The rage that swept through Lyra was white-hot. The symbols on her skin blazed. Around the chamber, dead plants burst into violent life. Control it. Morvaine commanded. But Lyra couldn't. The fury was too deep. The chamber door slammed open. Riven burst through, sword drawn. Lyra. His voice cut through her rage. Their eyes met. The mate bond flared. The magic stuttered. Stopped. Lyra collapsed. Riven caught her. I've got you. Morvaine's face had gone pale. Her power is awakening faster than Ilara's did. Much faster. Then teach me, Lyra said. Teach me to control it before I hurt someone. There's something you need to see first. Morvaine led them deeper into the palace. Through doors sealed with locks that opened at her touch. Finally, they reached a chamber buried in the palace's heart. Morvaine lit a torch. Lyra gasped. The walls were covered in names. Hundreds. Thousands. Carved into stone in desperate scripts. The culling, Morvaine said softly. 15 years ago, Kale ordered every Omega registered. For their protection, he claimed. Lyra's hand traced a name. Sarah Brightwater. Age 14. It was a death list, she whispered. Yes. Within a year, mysterious accidents claimed them all. Until not a single registered Omega remained. Riven stood rigid. I didn't know. Lyra sank to the floor, surrounded by names. He's a monster. He's a king who made monstrous choices, Morvaine corrected. You defend him? After this? I condemn him. But I also understand that the alternative was civil war. So these girls died for stability. Lyra gestured at the walls. No. Nothing justifies this, Riven said harshly. Footsteps echoed. Kale stepped into the chamber. His eyes found the walls. Found Lyra. I wondered when Morvaine would show you. Lyra launched herself at him. Riven caught her mid-leap as she screamed. Murderer. You killed them all. Kale didn't flinch. Yes. That's all you have to say. What would you have me say? That I'm sorry? I am. Every single day. But my regret won't bring them back. Why? Lyra went still. Kale moved to the wall. His hand touched a name. The prophecy said a true Omega would rise and bring the old magic back. I couldn't allow it. I'd fought too hard to stabilize this realm. So you became a tyrant. A killer of innocence. Yes. I became the villain. And I've lived with that choice. But the kingdom survived. It prospered. Built on blood. All kingdoms are built on blood. The only difference is how honestly we admit it. Lyra walked to her father. I should kill you. Yes. But I won't. Because that's what you expect. Instead, I'm going to make you watch as I undo everything you built. Kale studied her face. You sound like your mother. Good. Lyra turned and walked away. But at the door, she paused. Did you love her? My mother? The silence stretched. Then, barely audible, more than anything. Then you're an even bigger monster than I thought. Riven lingered. Will she need protection from you? Kale's smile was bitter. Both, probably. The mate bond, I know about it. Your loyalty will be tested, Riven. You'll have to decide. Your king or your mate. There is no choice. I serve the crown. Even if the crown demands her death. Riven stared at this man he'd followed for 8 years. And wondered if that trust had been misplaced. In her chambers, Lyra stood before a mirror. The symbols had spread up her arm, across her shoulder, curling toward her heart. Behind her reflection, she saw it. A shadow. A woman's form. Mother, she whispered. The shadow smiled. And the world tree's magic surged. In the throne room, Ceres gathered her allies. The girl is the key. We force a trial. The blood challenge. The king will never accept. He will if we make Lyra challenge him. Daughter against father. Winner takes the crown. And if the girl wins? She won't. She's untrained. Kale will kill her. And if he refuses? Then he proves himself weak. Either way, his reign ends. In the hidden chamber, Kale stood alone among the names. His fingers traced Ilara's. I'm sorry, he whispered. But the dead don't answer. And his daughter now hated him as much as he hated himself. The summons arrived at dawn. Lyra woke to find Riven standing over her, his face grim. Ceres made her move. He handed her a scroll. She's invoking ancient law. The blood challenge. Lyra's hands shook as she read. She wants me to challenge Kale for the crown? She's forcing your hand. If you refuse, you acknowledge him as rightful king. If you accept, he'll have to fight you. To the death. In the throne room, nobles gathered like vultures. Ceres stood at the center. The law is clear. Any true Omega may challenge the reigning monarch. Lyra Moonweaver has that right. She's untrained, Morvain protested. This isn't a challenge, it's an execution. Then she shouldn't accept. But if she refuses, she admits Kale Draven is her rightful king. The throne room doors opened. Lyra walked through. She wore simple clothes, the same threadbare dress from the market. I accept, Lyra said clearly. The room erupted. Kale rose. Lyra, no. I accept the blood challenge. 3 days from now. King Kale Draven versus Lyra Moonweaver. Winner takes the crown. She locked eyes with her father. And when I win, the first thing I'll do is carve the names of every murdered Omega into your throne. If you win. When? Ceres's smile was triumphant. In 3 days, we settle this. In the training yard, Morvain and Riven worked with desperate intensity. Your magic is powerful but undisciplined. Kale has 17 years of combat experience. Lyra dodged Riven's strike, barely. Then teach me faster. It doesn't work that way. True Omega magic requires emotional control. Right now, you fight with rage. Riven's blade stopped inches from Lyra's throat. Dead. For the 12th time. They'd been training for hours. Lyra's body screamed. Why are you helping me? You're Kale's commander. Riven's eyes darkened. Because the mate bond won't let me watch you die. Is that the only reason? No. I'm helping you because what Kale did was wrong. I followed orders without questioning. That ends now. He'll see this as betrayal. It is betrayal. But some orders shouldn't be followed. That night, Kale visited Lyra's chambers. Riven moved to block him. I need to speak with my daughter. You have no daughter, Lyra said. You killed her 17 years ago. Kale stepped around Riven. Then I'm speaking to my opponent. He moved to stand beside her at the window. Your mother stood here once. Before everything went wrong. Don't talk about her. She'd be proud of you. Of your strength. Your conviction. She'd hate you. She did. By the end, she hated me more than anyone. Lyra turned to face him. Why are you here? To offer you a choice. Withdraw from the challenge. I'll publicly acknowledge you as my heir. Give you power. Position. Accept the throne. Because you're not ready. You've had days of training. I've had decades. You'll fight with heart. I'll fight with cold calculation. And when I win, because I will win, you'll die. I'm begging you, withdraw. Lyra studied this man who'd murdered her mother. No. Kale's shoulders sagged. Then I've failed you twice. He turned to leave. Kale. He stopped. It was the first time she'd used his name without venom. Did you really love her? Kale was silent. Then, I loved her so much it terrified me. And when fear and ambition collided, I chose wrong. The next 2 days blurred. Training. Preparing for a fight Lyra might not survive. Morvayn taught her to channel rage into focus. Riven drilled combat forms. And slowly, Lyra began to understand her power. The world tree is the kingdom's heart, Morvayn explained. And you're its voice. When you fight Kale, you won't fight alone. On the third morning, Lyra woke to find Riven sitting vigil. You haven't slept. Couldn't. If you die today. Then I'd better not die, she whispered. He pulled her close. For one stolen moment, duty didn't matter. Just the mate bond singing between them. Then horns sounded. The blood challenge was beginning. The arena was ancient. Stone circles carved with symbols older than the kingdom. Thousands packed the stands. Kale entered from the north in battle armor. His sword gleamed. Lyra entered from the south. She'd refused armor. Wore only simple leather. Her marked arm was bare. They met in the center. Ceres stood between them. Fight until one yields or dies. Magic is permitted. Weapons are permitted. Mercy is optional. Begin. Kale attacked immediately. No hesitation. Just brutal efficiency. Lyra barely dodged. Don't hold back, she shouted. Vines erupted from the arena floor, wrapping around Kale's legs. He sliced through them without pausing. They circled each other. Lyra could feel the world tree's power thrumming through her. But Kale had experience. Discipline. The cold certainty of a killer. He struck again. Lyra raised a barrier of twisted roots. His blade shattered it. She rolled left, calling forth more vines. Kale's alpha roar shook the arena. Pure dominance, meant to make Omegas submit. Lyra felt the pull. The instinct to bow. She fought it. No. I am not my mother. And you are not my king. The world tree responded. Its roots burst through the arena floor like erupting serpents. Kale dodged, but one root caught his shoulder. Slammed him into stone. Blood dripped from his mouth. Then he moved. Faster than possible. His blade found her side. Pain exploded. She stumbled. Kale could have finished it. But he hesitated. Just long enough for Lyra to see the conflict in his eyes. She didn't hesitate. Her power slammed into him. Every plant responded. Vines wrapped his legs. Roots pinned his arms. Flowers bloomed around his throat, thorns pressing against his jugular. One word, and they'd squeeze. Lyra stood over her father, bleeding and victorious. Yield. Kale met her eyes. And smiled. No. Kill me or let me up. But I won't yield my throne. Then you'll die for it. Yes. Lyra's power surged. The thorns pressed deeper. And Lyra realized the trap. If she killed him, she became what he was. If she spared him, she proved herself weak. Either way, she lost. The prophecy had never been about winning. It had been about choosing what kind of ruler she'd become. Lyra released the vines. Stepped back. I won't kill you. Not because you deserve mercy. But because I'm not you. She turned to face the crowd. I withdraw my challenge. Chaos erupted. Ceres surged forward. You can't. I can. Because I learned something today. Kale Draven isn't the enemy. This system is. These laws that demand blood for power. She looked at Kale. You won the throne through violence. I could do the same. But strength isn't about who you can kill. It's about who you can save. She walked toward the exit. Lyra Moonweaver. Ceres's voice cracked. If you leave, you forfeit any claim to power. Lyra paused. Smiled. Good. She left. Kale slowly stood. He watched his daughter disappear. And for the first time in 17 years, he felt pride. 4 weeks passed. The kingdom held its breath. Lyra had become a symbol. Commoners whispered her name. Omegas emerged from hiding, emboldened by her defiance. And Kale's iron grip began to crack. Another riot in the Eastern District, Riven reported. Third this week. They're demanding Omega representation. Kale studied the war table. How many dead? None yet. They're peaceful. For now. But Ceres will find a way to turn them violent. Lyra entered without knocking. She'd taken to joining these councils. Kale had stopped trying to exclude her. Let them protest, she said. They have a right. Rights don't matter when the kingdom's burning. You started this. People see what you did and think they can change everything. Maybe they can. Change takes time. Revolutions take blood. I've spent 17 years preventing civil war. Now it's coming anyway. Riven stepped between them. You're both trying to save the kingdom. Just with different methods. Are we? Because from here, it looks like she's tearing down everything I built. Everything you built on corpses. Yes. On corpses and impossible choices. You think I wanted this? Then stop being a monster. It's not that simple. Every choice affects thousands. I can't afford mercy when mercy means chaos. And I can't afford silence when silence means death. Morvaine's voice cut through. Both of you need to see something. She entered carrying an ancient scroll. I've been researching the old laws. There's a provision you missed. The dual crown. Kale straightened. I'm listening. Before the culling, the kingdom was ruled by pairs. An alpha for strength. An omega for growth. They balanced each other. Lyra's breath caught. You mean? Rule together. Kale keeps his throne. Lyra takes the omega crown. Equal power. Joint decisions. Silence fell. Kale studied the scroll. The nobles would never accept it. It's ancient law. Precedent older than their houses. They must comply. Kale looked at Lyra. Could you work with me? After everything? Could you share power? After ruling alone for 17 years? Probably not. But I could learn. So could I. They stared at each other. Then slowly, Kale extended his hand. Lyra took it. The symbols on her skin flared. And the World Tree's magic surged through the palace, sealing the pact. The coronation was planned for 3 days hence. The kingdom buzzed with speculation. Ceres called it an opportunity. 2 rulers means divided authority. Conflict. Weakness we can exploit. How? We wait for them to disagree. Turn them against each other. But she had a backup plan. In the palace crypts, Ceres met with a cloaked figure. You're certain? She asked. The figure nodded. Kale had a son. The records were hidden, but I found them. Ceres's eyes widened. Where? Northern territories. Raised in secret. Now 18. And if the law holds, he has a stronger claim than Lyra. A legitimate male heir versus a bastard daughter. More than that. The boy is an alpha. Pure bloodline. And Kale doesn't know he exists. Kale ordered him killed. But the assassin had mercy. Hid the child instead. Ceres smiled. Bring him here. Before the coronation. The night before the coronation, Lyra stood in the royal archive. Looking for something? Riven's voice came from behind. Answers. There has to be something here about how the dual crown worked. Riven moved to help. You're having second thoughts. Constantly. I'm about to rule beside a father who tried to kill me. What could go wrong? Everything. But you'll face it together. Lyra leaned into him. How did I get so lucky? The fates have a twisted sense of humor. The mate bond wrapped around them. A throat cleared. Kale stood in the doorway. I came to give you this. He held out a circlet of silver and green stone. It was your mother's. The Omega crown. I've kept it hidden. Lyra stared. You kept it. I couldn't destroy it. It was all I had left of her. Lyra took the crown carefully. Thank you. They stood in awkward silence. I don't know how to be your father. But I want to try. To be better than I was. Actions, Lyra said quietly. Show me through actions. Fair enough. Cale moved to leave, then paused. Your mother would be proud of you. He left. Lyra stood holding the crown, tears streaming. Riven pulled her close. You okay? I don't know. But somehow I'm still standing. More than standing. You're fighting. Leading. Becoming what this kingdom needs. She kissed him then. Soft and desperate. When they pulled apart, tomorrow. After the coronation. I want to make this official. The mate bond. Claiming ceremony? If you'll have me. Like you have to ask. But alarm bells rang through the palace. They ran to the throne room. Found Cale surrounded by guards, all staring at a young man in northern furs. A young man with Cale's eyes. Hello, father, the stranger said. Surprised to see me. Cale had gone pale. Darius. You're dead. I ordered. You ordered me killed. Yes. But your assassin had more mercy than you did. His eyes found Lyra. Oh. Looks like you failed to kill her too. He turned back to Cale. I'm here to claim what's mine. The throne. Everything you stole from our mother. Ceres swept in. May I present Prince Darius Draven. The true heir. She timed it perfectly. Maximum chaos. Cale looked between his two children. This is impossible. No, Morvain said heavily. This is prophecy. 2 heirs. 2 paths. The kingdom must choose. Darius stepped forward. I don't want war. I want justice. And justice means the rightful heir on the throne. I'm sorry, sister. But that heir is me. Tomorrow's coronation had just become a crisis. Dawn broke over a kingdom divided. 3 Dravens stood in the throne room. Cale, the tyrant king. Lyra, the Omega who chose mercy. Darius, the lost prince seeking vengeance. The law is clear, Ceres announced. Prince Darius is the eldest legitimate child. The throne is his by right. He was declared dead, Riven argued. Under false pretenses. My claim stands, Darius said. Lyra watched her brother carefully. He carried rage like armor. Why now? Cale finally asked. Why wait 18 years? Because I needed to be strong enough to face you. You killed my mother when I was an infant. Left me to die. Who was she? Lyra asked softly. Myra Ashwood. A lesser Omega from the north. She caught Cale's attention during a diplomatic visit. He promised her protection. Then ordered us both eliminated when we became inconvenient. Cale flinched. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. Too busy building your empire of corpses. The accusation hung in the air. Lyra felt sympathy for this brother. They'd both been victims of Cale's ambition. I won't fight you for the crown, she said quietly. Everyone turned. Lyra, Cale started. I mean it. You're right. You're the eldest. The legitimate heir. If you want the throne, take it. Darius studied her suspiciously. What's the catch? No catch. I learned something in the blood challenge. Sometimes the best way to win is to refuse to play. You're just going to walk away. No. I'm going to stay. Help rebuild. Represent the Omegas. But I'll do it as myself, not as a queen. She removed her mother's crown. Held it out to Morvain. The room erupted. But Lyra walked through it all. Toward the door. Toward freedom. Riven followed without question. In the palace gardens, Lyra finally breathed. That was either brave or stupid, Riven said. Probably both. But it felt right. I'm tired of fighting for power. And if Darius is a terrible king, then I'll oppose him. From outside the palace if necessary. She turned to Riven. Will you come with me? Anywhere. Always. The mate bond sang between them. Strong and certain and finally free. In the throne room, Cale faced his son. You want the crown? It's yours. Darius's eyes narrowed. Just like that. Just like that. I've worn it long enough. Made enough mistakes. He held out the heavy circlet. Darius stared at it. Then shocked everyone by laughing. You think I want that cursed thing? I didn't come here for a crown. I came for truth. That you're a monster. That everything you built is rotten. Yes. All of that is true. The admission seemed to drain something from Darius. You're not going to fight me? Make excuses? No. I've spent 17 years making excuses. I'm done. Darius stood frozen. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I don't understand. Neither do I. But your sister taught me something. That mercy can be stronger than violence. He looked at Morvain. Prepare the transfer ceremony. Prince Darius will be crowned by sunset. Ceres stepped forward. Your Majesty. This doesn't concern you anymore. Get out. She left, schemes in ruins. Darius stood alone, staring at the crown. And realized he didn't want it. What he'd wanted was acknowledgement. Truth. For Cale to admit his crimes. I'm not ready. Cale nodded. Neither was I. But you have something I didn't. You have Lyra. Me, if you'll accept help. Morvain's wisdom. You don't have to rule alone. Why would you help me? Because you're my son. And I already failed you once. Darius felt something break inside. The rage he'd carried for 18 years crumbled, leaving only grief. She was beautiful. My mother. She didn't deserve what you did. No. None of them did. I can't forgive you. I'm not asking you to. But maybe we can build something new. Together. Darius looked at the throne. At his father. At the impossible future. I'll take the crown. But not alone. The dual crown, except with you and Lyra. You've ruled long enough to know the pitfalls. She represents the people you silenced. Together, maybe we can fix this mess. You'd work with me. After everything, I'd work with anyone if it means Omegas stop dying. But if you fail me, if you betray this kingdom again, I'll put the blade in your hand myself. They clasped forearms. Father and son. Two broken people trying to build something whole. The coronation happened at sunset. Simpler than planned. Cale stood before the court, Darius at his right. I abdicate. Effective immediately. But I don't abandon you. Prince Darius will take the throne. I will serve as his advisor. And together, we will seek out Lyra to complete the dual crown. He found Lyra in the crowd. Will you accept? The Omega crown? Not to rule with me, but with your brother. To give Omegas the voice they've lacked. Lyra looked at Darius. Can you share power? Can you trust me not to become our father? They stared at each other. Then both smiled. Probably not. Definitely not. But we can try. For them. For every Omega who died. Morvain brought out 2 crowns. Iron and sapphire. Silver and green stone. Darius took the heavy iron. Lyra accepted her mother's crown. They knelt, and Morvain blessed them. By ancient law and new hope, I crown you joint rulers. May you rule with wisdom. With mercy. With strength tempered by compassion. She placed the crowns on their heads. And the world tree sang. Its branches exploded with golden light. Every plant in the kingdom bloomed at once. The magic that had been dying surged back. Alpha and Omega. Strength and growth. Finally in harmony. 3 months later, the kingdom had changed. Not perfectly. But changed. Omegas served on the council. New laws protected their rights. The culling was condemned, its victims remembered. Cale had stepped down but stayed as advisor. Learning how to be a father instead of a king. Lyra split her time between palace and people. Building schools. Healing rifts. And Riven stayed at her side. Mate and partner. They'd completed the claiming ceremony. The bond fully formed, unbreakable. On a quiet evening, Lyra found Cale in the memorial hall. He stood before Alara's name, as he did every night. Does it get easier? No. But it gets different. The guilt becomes something I can carry rather than something that crushes me. Lyra moved beside him. I don't forgive you. I know. But I don't hate you either. What do you feel? Complicated things. Grief for what I lost. Anger at what you did. But also gratitude that you're trying. It's not enough. No. It'll never be enough. But it's something. They stood in silence. Two people bound by blood and tragedy. Learning how to be family. She'd forgive you, Lyra said. My mother. If she could see you now. How do you know? Because she loved you. Even at the end. That's the kind of person she was. Cale's face crumpled. For the first time, Lyra saw him cry. She didn't comfort him. Didn't tell him it was okay. Because it wasn't okay. But she stayed. And sometimes, staying was enough. In the throne room, Lyra and Darius held court together. A farmer complained about noble encroachment. They ruled in his favor. An Omega sought protection. They granted it immediately. It wasn't always smooth. Sometimes they disagreed. But they always listened. And slowly, the kingdom learned that power could be shared. That mercy and justice weren't opposites, but partners. That night, Lyra stood on her balcony with Riven. The world tree glowed below. I keep expecting it to go wrong. It might. But you're strong enough to handle it. Whatever comes, we face it together. I love you. I love you too. My queen. My mate. My everything. The mate bond hummed. Content and complete. In the distance, the world tree sang. And for the first time in 17 years, it wasn't mourning. It was celebrating. A kingdom healing. A family forming. A future worth fighting for. Lyra closed her eyes and made a promise. To her mother's memory. To the Omegas who'd died. To herself. She would protect this peace. Nurture this growth. And never forget the cost of the crown she wore. The story wasn't over. It never would be. But for now, with her mate beside her and the world tree blooming below, Lyra allowed herself to hope. That broken things could heal. That monsters could change. That mercy could build what violence never could. And that sometimes the world gave second chances. Even to those who didn't deserve them. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the Omega's crown. Your support means everything to this channel. If you enjoyed watching Lyra transform from a forgotten orphan to a queen who changed a kingdom, please smash that like button and subscribe to become part of our storytelling family. We're building a community of passionate fantasy fans, and we want you to be part of it. Hit the notification bell so you're first to know when we drop our next captivating story. Now, let's talk. Speech balloon, what was your favorite moment? The world tree's awakening? The blood challenge? The shocking return of Darius? Speech balloon, Team Lyra or Team Darius for the throne? Defend your choice. Speech balloon, do you think Cale truly deserved a second chance, or should he have paid a harsher price? Speech balloon, and most importantly, where are you watching from? Drop your city and country below. Globe showing Europe, Africa. Your comments fuel our passion for bringing these stories to life. Every like, every subscription, every comment tells us you want more epic tales of magic, romance, betrayal, and redemption.